Hello everyone, the boss here for a very special episode where we'll be taking a look at all the recent events at UBW and Square One. This week marks 8 years of me bossing it at Ultimate British Wrestling. So by my decree, today there will be no waffling. First up, some breaking news. General managers come and go, and I'm particularly happy to say that the old one has finally gone. Boo you, Chase Anthony. Welcome aboard, Bart O'Connor. Senior, I have no doubt that you'll be more professional than the last one. That's hardly a difficult task, I suppose. Don't let me down. Next up, a pairing I'm pretty sure will be grabbing all the headlines soon. We've seen these two fan favourites many times in the UBW ring, but never together. In an inevitable pairing, Squa-ramble, the nervous wrecking ball, and the sweet songbird of the squared circle, Tristan Pretty, have joined forces. At Stevenage Superbrawl, they took on the label, represented by the head of the label, Freddie Idol, and the biggest loser/goober in UBW history, Tig. The new dynamic duo put on a spectacular show, but sadly did not get off to a winning start, with Freddie, not Tig, picking up the win. I should make it clear that this victory for the label does not equate to a win for Tig, who remains defeated at UBW. And what of our new heroes? I've seen some fantastic tag teams over the years, show memes, the Odyssey, and even the Beards. And I'm sure that Sky and Tristan will soon join this list of champions. How sure? Pretty sure. Right time for a Square One Scramble. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, sorry about that, boss. I was busy in the shed. So what are we up to now?
Talking about the Scramble match.
The Scramble match determined the Square One #1 contender. Going up against the champion at some later date in the shape of Denzel Mack. Oh, exciting times. This one's worth a lot. Who do we have in the match?
Well, we had ex-champion Big Wade.
Big Wade looking to get the title back. Toot sweet, super quick.
We had Neurotoxin,
who we favoured on the Wrestling Outside Instagram account because we're scared not to.
We had everyone's favourite Spanish-speaking luchador.
Yes, El Antonio's in there. Maybe his uno dos third time attempting to get the #1 contendership.
And we had one half of Pretty Sure returning to the ring.
Which half?
Sweet songbird of the square circle.
Right, Tristan Pretty in the ring and Sky Shore in support outside, sitting just by us. We had a nice little chat with him, didn't we? Much as someone had a nice little chat with Big Wade on his doorstep. Wasn't you, was it?
No.
No, it wasn't me. I don't know who that could have been. Are we outsourcing? We can't say on camera. Yes, someone disturbed Big Wade on his doorstep asking for an update because he was injured, wasn't he? Came in injured into this five-man? Who was the fifth one?
Oh. It's
Tig. Oh, okay, so it really is only a four-man.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a moment in this where Tig, he's learned something, hasn't he? As a man of culture, he's realised that maybe he needs to protect the targeted areas where he is injured, and bought a baking tray. So here's a bit of advice. If Tig offers you a cookie or any other baked goods, think twice. Not good. So, who came out on top? Who is the new #1 contender?
It's Neurotoxin.
Neurotoxin. I think that looks like it's going to be an absolute blinder of a match. I think Denzel's got his hands full there. So that's the #1 contender sorted out.
I think so, but it's another Scramble match coming up.
Another Squa-ramble. I'll work on that. Another Scramble match coming up. So Square One #1 contender is only a #2, or is it a number half? Don't know. I guess we'll cover that next time. Right, look forward to it. So, shall we catch up with what Ben Gedling's been up to? The adventures of Bert in wrestling land. Now, we know that he hit a milestone recently at the Stevenage Superbrawl. He had his 100th match.
Yeah. 100 matches.
100 matches. I don't know what the stats look like, but I know he was sitting in the crowd, as were we, and then an opportunity came along. The open challenge put down by Chris Aries for the UBW British Championship, and it was answered by Ben Gedling. Although Chris Aries didn't seem overly pleased, did he?
No.
So, was it a classic?
Well, it wasn't a classic, but it was a record breaker.
Record breaker.
Shortest match in UBW.
Shortest match in UBW history.
Yes.
I'll take a look back on the tape, shall I? Right, so we've timed that, and it appears to be a shorter match than is feasible to have a 3 count in. A loss nonetheless, and another defence for Chris Aries. So the adventures of Ben in Wrestling Land didn't get off to too great a start. But he did have another match, didn't he? At Havoc in the Heat in Royston? Yeah. So he took on the Wolf of Brawl Street.
Alexander Roth.
Alexander Roth. So it's the Wolf of Brawl Street versus...
Bert from Sesame Street.
Bert from Sesame Street. Yeah. And did he add another win to the Ben Gedling column? No. Sadly, Mr. Gedling did not win, despite interference from, I can't say his name, that's on you.
Aidan White.
Yep, that one. He came in, he's made a fuss, and I think he ended up getting kicked in the head by Ben, which was quite nice. But that means that Alexander Roth, making his multiversal debut at Ultimate British Wrestling, is off to a winning start. And his 8-7 colleague, Harrison Leon, came to the rescue when all things looked a little bit troublesome. So we might have a new tag team on the block as well. Not only have we got Pretty Sure turning up, the 8-7 may well be in the house. Tag team wrestling is looking up at Ultimate British Wrestling. Get in.
Oh, I've got to go take that. Would it be okay if you could head to the shed and cover the British Crown Cup for me?
Okay. Let me know what happens.
Okay.
So, I need to crack on. No waffling for this one, because this is the British Crown Cup Day. This is motoring along. People are progressing and bodies are dropping faster than memes approval rating. We had a load of action on the blue half of the draw, starting at the Stevenage Superbrawl, with Levi Muir returning to UBW for the first time since his appearance at UBWX, where he absolutely clattered Ian Rosario, up against fan favourite Smashing Mike. Now, Levi Muir used to be a fan favourite. We all cheered for him when he was champion, but that's gone. Not only do the crowd not want him, but he seems to be antagonising everyone. He picked on Grizz, he started picking on me as well, which is why the boss has taken up the offer from Smashing Mike for boxing lessons so she can defend me and defend the good name of the Wrestling Outsider. Now, Mike came back, the crowd were on his side. We love Smashing Mike. Levi Muir does not. The best athlete in the game was out for blood. And whatever Smashing Mike did, however resilient he was put down again and again, clattered by a crossbody that made everyone wince. Levi Muir came out on top and advanced through to Havoc in the Heat to face who? Well, the other quarterfinal on the blue side of the draw from the Stevenage Superbrawl was Denzel Mack versus Kai Payne. Now, Kai Payne is coming back to UBW. He is the fire starter of British wrestling, if not world wrestling. He is here to make no friends, and he makes no apologies for the fact that he wants to ruin UBW. He says UBW is his kryptonite. He cannot score a win. He's lost to the UBW champion in the form of True and Roswell. He lost to the Legacy champion back in Hitchin at Trial of Champions, Arthur Scurro. Hello, Arthur Scurro. But now he's going up against the Square One champion, Denzel Mack. And again, he doesn't win. Brutal as ever, absolutely lashing into Denzel to try and take him down to one leg. Tries an F5 of his own. Canadian destroy from Denzel and an F5 in response. and Denzel Mack progresses. Now, the real worry here is that Kai Payne has promised that he's going to ruin UBW. If the losing streak continues, he's just here to make people unhappy. So we have Denzel, we have Levi, and they clash in Royston at Havoc in the Heat. And was it hot? Man, it was humid. It was absolutely electric. This match started with Levi again coming out haranguing the crowd. He's picked on Grizz yet again. Grizz has been mustered up over the last couple of weeks and he faces him up. Big mistake there. But he's still all mouth. He gives me a mouthful. I laugh. He says, "What are you laughing at?" I say, "Not you, mate." And just as he turns round, the new GM, thankfully, Bart O'Connor, announces the arrival of the Square One champion before I get my teeth handed to me. Well, back when I'm conscious again. Anyway, so it's Mack versus Muir. Another trial of champions here. And it's as hard-hitting as all previous matches, and as you'd expect from Levi Muir. However, in this case, the Square One champion, absolutely on a tear, comes out on top again. This isn't the last we've seen of Levi Muir, but if you do see him before I do, please give me fair warning. One semi-finalist decided. We have Denzel Mack. Pretty convinced this guy is going to do very, very well in this competition. But who is he facing in the semi-final that's upcoming? Well, on the other side of the draw, within the blue section, we had Freddie Idol, who overcame Cosmico in the first round, back at Trial of Champions, where Cosmico didn't make friends with one Joshua King. More on him later on. Going up against Harrison Leon, who bested Vroom Vroom Judas Sexton way back when the British Crown Cup first kicked off. So we've got the glitter baller versus the jaw rocker here. For once, the head of the label comes out with only Tig waving through the curtain and then buggering off. Well, up for that. More of the same, please. He's going up against the absolute dynamite glitter baller, who's on a tear himself recently. But Freddie Idol has imposed a no glitter policy as he's come in. Surprisingly for me, this was an even match. I thought Harrison Leon would smash through, especially with Freddie without his backup. But I know Freddie likes me to talk through his matches and talk about everything but him. But this was reasonably impressive. No stomping, targeting the leg yet again to try and even the height differential between him and his opponent. But he gets through. He clatters him at the end and rolls him up. And I don't know who is more surprised, Harrison Leon or the crowd. And Freddie is covered in glitter. From the offset, which was really great. The crowd loved that. But he's progressed. Harrison Leon is perplexed. Obviously, the big boy baller can take this in his stride. There are better things to come for him than having to face this idiot. But is Freddie Idol improving? No, he's through to the semi-final. The blue side of the draw, Denzel Mack versus Freddie Idol. One of these guys is going to go into the final. Let's just hope it's DM. Right, so let's move across to the red side of the draw. Already through, we have Joshua King overcoming Lincoln Spector in the opening bout of this tournament. He's going up against TJ Rex, who unsurprisingly overcame Tig, because who hasn't? And also on that side of the draw, we have Tony Kyle, who progressed, having beaten our captain, the Legacy champion, Arthur Scarro. So undecided on this side, at the Stevenage Superbrawl, we have one bout where Liam McCarthy faces fan favourite SSD Samuel St. Daniels. Now, it's been a while since we've seen Samuel St. Daniels in the ring. The friend of the professionals, if not a professional himself, made a welcome return to Stevenage. It's Land of Hope and Glory versus Land of the Giants. Liam McCarthy is a beast, and he has, by the side of the ring, the rest of the label. The head of the label and the insignificant label, you know, the one that you cut out and dispose of straight away, Tig. They're loitering on the edge of the ring and spoiling everything. Liam doesn't need these guys. I think the boss pointed out early on that the label would be a great faction as long as they don't rely on Tig. So, don't. So, we have a match where a man of the people is going up against a man mountain. A man mountain who manhandles the man of the people, the dandy, Samuel St. Daniels, despite the spectacular show that he puts on. High flying, one for the ages. If you get a chance to watch this one back, the clash of styles is incredible here, and the strength that SSD shows at times to get out of a pin where Liam McCarthy is laying on him is something to behold. Now, this match kicked off the Stevenage Superbrawl show, which was a worry for me because SSD is often a show stealer from the first match. But he doesn't get to see anyone after that. We've waited for him at half-time for the photo opportunity that the boss loves to have, and very rarely does it come through because he's either on his way to hospital or lying down in the back, recovering somewhat. So it was great to see him come out after this bout to say hello to us. But spoilers, he didn't progress. Unsurprisingly, the King of Monsters could well be the King of the British Crown Cup. He has progressed to the quarterfinal to face Tony Kyle, and it looks to me like the label may well be taking over the British Crown Cup. We already have Freddie on the blue side of the draw into the semi-final. Do we think that Liam McCarthy could join in the semi-finals? It seems very likely. The absolute maverick, obviously, has got the skills and the experience to overcome anyone, but this is going to be a tough test for him. So, great. The label could well be tying up the British Crown Cup because they're not having to rely on Tig, who's already out. Up, Tig. You got it. And so we are on to the legacy section. The Legacy Championship and a purported legacy in UBW. Shall we deal with the people we like?
Yeah.
Right. The Legacy Champion, Captain Arthur Squa-ramble. Hello, Arthur Squa-ramble. Well, he's currently the Legacy Champion, and at Stevenage Superbrawl, he defended his belt against Big Wade. Big Wade, who recently lost the Square One title, then interfered with the match that Arthur Squa-ramble had at Trial of Champions with Kai Payne, and set himself up for this match. A tilt at having another belt almost straight away.
He came away with no belt.
Came away with no belt and possibly an injury, which a reporter has been standing outside his house in come rain or shine, very hot at the moment, to try and get a comment. Interested to see what they say. If only we'd get an update from them soon. Anyway, so a defeat for Wade and a continuation of the legacy of our captain that went in to a man who believes he is the legacy of UBW. Memes. Now, we know that he says he's out there doing his best for all the veterans who are overlooked and all the newbies are coming in and ruining UBW and Square One and taking his spot. He says he's defending Spike Valentine and Ricky Calvé and all the others out there, although I think he's mainly talking about himself. But one person he seems to have missed off, who held a belt at UBW before Memes held a belt. Any ideas? The boss. The Infinity Champion, predating Memes, more of a legacy. I mean, we are here today celebrating 8 years of you bossing it at UBW. So 8 years is longer than Memes has been there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have pictures of you, footage of you, welcoming Memes for his debut, maybe even, at UBW, when you were well entrenched. Yeah, so he's talking about this legacy, and he's angry that people are taking his spot. And he's also angry at the outcome of this match, because at Havoc in the Heat, Arthur Squa-ramble picked up an injury in the ring, and referee David, said, right, I'm calling this match off. And as we all know, Clause 13, section, is it XII or XIII?
It's a section.
It's a section. It's one of those two. It says, at the referee's discretion, a match can be stopped without, if on the line, a change of championship. So he made the right call. And then Memes has gone after David, and he has laid hands on him and said, know your place. As we all know, in section 316 of clause 57 of the British wrestling rules, and these are followed by Ultimate British Wrestling, hands on a referee, especially outside the rings, means that you should have your career ended and never be allowed in a wrestling ring ever again. May not actually say that, but that's what I'm saying it says. So that's your legacy, Memes. You should be out of the door, no returns. Agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed. Good stuff.
The champion!
The phone's going again. Do you have some mail stuff you can do while I take this?
Yeah, I can do that for you. Back to the shed for me. See you later.
Bye.
Right, so there's a question I keep asking myself. Who is Vinnie Kray? It's a question I thought I knew the answer to until recently. We've been seeing him having a pretty bad start to the year. He's still not won his title back. He's the former Young Lions champion, now the Legacy Championship held by Arthur Scarrow. He was marauding around with the old belt, saying it was the Kray City Championship, but even that's fallen by the wayside. He's had a really bad year. He's been walking around since he broke up with his friend Big Wade with a face longer than Shure, which must really rankle because the guy does not like horses. But there's been change very recently. May's the tipping point, I think. May is the mayoral election time. Invigilating myself over a mayoral election, I find out that Vinnie Kray wins by a landslide. He's re-elected. Probably puts him in a good mood. People are beginning to react to him. The constituents of Kray City itself, they're shaking his hands, but so are people from outside. I've seen Dan Allen, this guy, the man who owns the microphone in the ring, used to be a staunch detractor of Vinnie Kray. Now they seem to be on speaking terms, if not friendly terms. He's pressing the flesh. He's smiling at people. He's asking people to stand up for the mayor, and they are doing so. Now, could it be the mayor election, or could it be something else? Someone has been slipping something in his drink of late. Someone being Otto von Lambergast. Did I get that right? Arnold? I'm not sure. But the guy gave me something a couple of months ago, and I haven't felt right since. So, suspect. Don't speak to him. Now, this guy has been giving the mayor positive vibes and green slime by the looks of it, which has buoyed him somewhat until he realised that Lumbergast was not partaking himself. So, suspicious as he was, he challenged OVL to a meeting in the ring, which they had at Stevenage Superbrawl. Citizens stand up, and even more surprisingly, Vinnie Kray is now supporting charitable causes. Something really has changed. The big thing that changes is the reaction he gets when he wins. He overcomes the master of medicines, the guy who's got all the unguents and disgusting vials of who knows what, and the crowd go absolutely nuts. Should I bang him in the mouth? Yes, everyone's crying, bang him in the mouth. It's a big change, and I do have to ask myself, who is this Vinnie Kray? Is he my mayor?
Well, we've mentioned it before, so it's about time we go into some details.
What's this?
Chris Aries Open Challenge for the UBW British Heavyweight Championship.
Right, so we've mentioned one, the record-breaking match against Ben Gedling. Who else did he face?
Debbers the Game Boy.
Oh, Debbers came out, didn't he? So we used to seeing this guy as the referee at UBW and Squa-ramble. So it's a big surprise when he came out ready to wrestle. But wow, he's good. I was very, very surprised. It was a sweltering day, much like today, and it didn't look like it was too hot for him in that ring. Absolutely flew around. So yeah, I think a surprise for the champion as well, that the referee was not being a referee. But he was great. Took him all the way, but still Chris Aries retained, which is a bit of a spoiler because we know we're talking about more than one match here. So Aries, within the last two events, he's beaten Ben Gedling. He's beaten Ben the ref. And now, was there another Ben on the horizon?
No.
Right. But we did see Ben when Chris said there was an open challenge. His music started and he came through the curtain and it was like, no, Ben, leave this alone. It's possible you could lose even quicker, but don't put yourself through it. But he wasn't coming out for himself, was he? He was coming out for
Aiden White.
Yeah, so
Aiden White
took up the challenge from Chris Aries to try and make it, I guess, 3 in a row, because last time they faced each other for the tag team belts, Artemis and Chris Aries lost them. So that's a massive victory for Ben Gedling and
Aiden White.
Yeah, and then before that, Chris Aries and
Aiden White
were the last two people in the Squa-ramble number one contender rumble. Yeah, it was a Christmas event, wasn't it? And
Aiden White
won that one as well. But I think now I need to pull out my wrestling rulebook here, because although he was there to wrestle a match, he actually did something that was the most heinous act I think we've ever seen at a UBW show. And we've seen some horror shows. We've seen Josh Spicer coming out and making sure Chris Aries didn't win, and therefore having to leave the company. We've seen memes just about every week, which is just heinous the whole time. I mean, I remember the time he claimed that Truman Roswell had attacked Mewtwo, and in victory at the end, memes then threw a cat out of the ring. Another heinous crime, but this one is unforgivable. What happened?
Chucked Arnold.
Chucked, kicked. Oh, Arnold was propelled across the venue. I think we got footage of it that we'll cut in here. This has been described by some people, not in attendance today, as the greatest moment in UBW history and sure to be the moment of the year. Thanks, Ben Danton. He wasn't even there and he thinks it's the best thing ever. Anyway, what happened in the ring?
Well, it's a sad day for Aiden White's winning streak.
Very good. He didn't get 3 in a row then?
Nope.
Chris Aries is still the champion?
Yeah.
Was there any interference?
I think that was
Attempted interference. I think very much moving towards the fact that we have the 8-7 taking centre stage in the tag team division, and it's a real prospect to take the belts from Pretty Sure, who are going to be Progressive Overload next. Yep. How sure are we about that? Pretty sure. Right, so that's it for another episode. Yeah, here's to another 8 great years.
We've been from Biggleswade to Coventry.
Yeah.
And Royston to Peterborough.
We've been everywhere.
Yeah, but wherever they book it, we'll be there.
Excellent. And when we're there, we'll be bringing you all the news. So stick with us and join us next time on Waffling On.
Bossing it.
Stay in the know with the WO.